Welcome to the MyRISE podcast. I'm here with my friend Andrea Ornelas. And Andrea is the Assistant Political Director with Local Laborers 242, a former Labor Forewoman, four-person, Journey woman of 5 years, and a new graduate, and a married mother of five residing in Milton, Washington, on a journey to possibly run for local office. Welcome to the MyRISE podcast.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
We're excited to have you. So, one of the first things that we wanted to just deep dive into is tell us a little bit about your journey before getting into a new pre-apprenticeship program.
The journey before ANEW, it was definitely stressful. Didn't know where I was going to be. I was basically stuck, minimum wage job, and I wanted better. And I'm glad I found ANEW.
How did you hear about ANEW?
My friend actually told me about ANEW. I was looking to get into construction. I didn't know how. My husband was at the time a non-union carpenter, and so he said, "Get into the union. Do not do non-union. They don't treat the workforce good enough." So my friend said she had just joined ANEW, and within like the next cohort or two, I was in. As soon as I could get in, I was like, "I'm getting in. I'm doing it."
It's that word of mouth approach.
Yeah.
So tell me, why construction? What made you? Was it because your husband was already in a construction pathway?
Yes, and I've always hung out with the guys. I was always playing out in the fields. I like to work outside, and I saw his paychecks, and I wanted to have the same amount. I was like, I better get out there and make it happen.
Absolutely, I love it. So tell us a little bit about your journey from pre-apprentice to journey person to foreman. What are some of the challenges you faced, and how did you find balance during those times?
The challenges I faced, definitely childcare. It was so hard in the beginning to find a childcare provider that could accommodate my hours and my schedule. So I eventually had to ask my mom to take on the responsibility. And of course, we compensated her, and it made my life so much easier. And the stress lifted off my shoulders as soon as she decided to watch her children. And she's been doing it for about 4 years now. And I'm definitely grateful to have her. Definitely something we need to work on is having childcare for the construction workers.
Yeah, the childcare issue in general is huge because you can be working from dark 30, which is early in the morning, to like 24, almost 24 hours sometimes, especially if both you and your husband are in the field.
Yes.
Working. So, what were some of the hours that you had, just so we can give context to those that are watching that may be interested?
Um, in the beginning, I worked around 6 to 3 o'clock, but you have to be there. Traffic, I had to leave my house at 5, get there at least by 6, and then the traffic on the way home was at least another hour 15 to get home. So I would definitely be over the amount of time that I could have my children at child care facilities and have to be paid fees.
Yeah, and I believe it's 12 hours
Yes.
in the state of Washington that your children can't be in childcare more than 12 hours. And for a lot of daycares, if you're like a minute late past closing,
Yes.
it's $20
Mhm.
that's due that day.
Yes.
So, yes, I speak that language with you. My heart goes out with you. But there are many, many challenges around that. And so, hopefully, with us having more conversations, we can, somebody with
Yes.
influence and power can change that dynamic for those of us breaking into the construction industry. So, how did you become a four person? Because it's not really heard of a lot of times to go. I think it took you 5 years to get from being an apprentice, journeying out, and then becoming a four person.
Yes. Well, my goal, I always set goals in whatever I do. And when I first started, I set my goals. I did want to be a foreman one day. So getting on the field, I was like, I'm going to be the best I can be at whatever I'm doing. And I put my all into everything I did. I had a positive attitude. I was there to help others as needed. And I think everyone saw my dedication and hard work. And so within 6 months, I was apprentice lead. And then I want to say a year later or 2 years later after I journeyed out, I, no, after 3 years, I became a foreman. So as soon as I journeyed out, I became a forewoman.
So let me get this straight. You journeyed out in 3 years, and then you became a 4 person. That is amazing. It's an amazing timeline. What inspiration or words of encouragement would you give to a pre-apprentice or a brand new apprentice that would want to see themselves in a leadership role like that?
I would definitely say make goals, stay committed, be reliable. Positive attitude definitely goes a long way, and just encourage others. And you'll never realize who's looking at you. You'll never notice that there are people in higher positions, and one day someone's gonna have to take the next spot, and you might be the one.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. You have served as a Rise Up ambassador for respectable and acceptable work sites on many occasions. How has that experience been for you?
I definitely enjoyed sharing with others what I learned from Rise Up Ambassador. Um, and I would definitely have other people do it as well. You learn all the resources available to those who need guidance, and you're able to show them how to get the guidance and resources they need.
Absolutely. And for those of you who don't know about Rise Up is a respectable, acceptable worksite culture. It's a campaign of change for the construction industry. So it's respect, safety, inclusion, and equity is how we rise. What would you, why would you want somebody to be in a program like that?
Um, I would want them to be in a program like that. Sorry, um, because it spreads awareness, um, and you learn things. There's a lot of things you don't understand until you actually hear from other people, their stories and what's actually going on in the workforce, and that you can actually help if you know how. You know the protocols and the guidance, and you can actually help and spread awareness.
And you get great training. It's a leadership development pathway. So that way you're in construction, but you're still learning construction terms and how to be that leader. And you have a Rise Up hard hat sticker so folks know, hey, this is a safe place where I can go and say, I need help with approaching the situation, or what positive feedback can you give me? It may not even be positive, but I need guidance and direction
Yes.
on how to handle a situation. All right. Looking back over your life, knowing what you know now, what would you tell the 12-year-old Andrea about navigating life? And we say 12 because 12 is a vital age where you're too old to do what you used to do and too young to do what you want to do. So, what advice would you give your younger self?
I'd say have definitely self love, um, believe in yourself, uh, be determined, and keep reading. Do not stop reading. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is meant to be given to others. Um, and then in that way, I wouldn't have made as many mistakes as I have or did. Um, and I know a lot more and be able to help others as well.
So, could we expect a book from you in the future, in the far future?
I've actually thought about it. We'll see.
Yeah, I like that you say continue to feed your brain, because what you learn with your hands to do and what you put in your mind, nobody can ever take that away from you. So it's a great gift that you give to yourself, and that all wraps back into that self love piece.
Yes.
All right, what is it like to be an assistant political director with Laborers Local 242?
Well, it was definitely definitely a change. I went from being working outside to working inside because of COVID. So I was at home in the beginning. There's a lot of things to canvassing, campaign work. You'll never know everything about legislation because there's so much going on. Lots of different bills, but I'm definitely learning a lot, and it was definitely new. And I like what I do actually. I found a passion in being able to help behind the scenes.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes, I'm sure,
Yeah.
to make sure that things are equitable. There's funding for folks to get additional opportunities. And so we have you're working with Emerge Washington, learning to run for public office. What is your why, and how can our community support you?
My why is because I see the changes that there needs to be. Living in Pierce County, I don't see representation, and we need as a community diversity and inclusion. And a whole lot more to that. I could go on, but this is not the time. And so I decided that one day I will run, and to do that, I need Emerge, and I need the training to do that.
Absolutely. I'm so very proud of you for being a future voice of our next generation. We definitely need, like you said, more representation, somebody that has truly lived that American dream and like put on your boots and worked your way to where you are. So thank you for your service. And if you're wondering how you can support Andrea Ornelas in the Emerge Washington, you can go to everyaction.com and click on support Andrea Ornelas. All right. Last but certainly not least, this is, I think, one of the most important questions I can ask you. You have been busy building and serving our community. What do you do in your spare time to honor you, and how do you pencil yourself in for self care?
Okay, having 5 children, I definitely come home. I give them my time first. If I don't give them my time, it's never going to be my time. So I give them my time. I take a meditation. I call it a relaxation bath.
Okay.
And I meditate at least once a day. I love the meditation. And through that, it like my body, my soul, and everything just gets on course, and I keep a focus. And I also read before I go to sleep an inspirational book.
Okay.
So that's how I get my me time.
That's awesome because it's like once you have that calming, it's so necessary. And so you have a lot of folks that depend on you from the time you wake up until the time you go to sleep. So I just want to say stay encouraged. Thank you for coming by and talking with us. You know, I'm very proud of you again, and I'm honored to be able to sit with you today. So where can people follow your journey or connect with you?
So I do have a Facebook. It's Andrea Andrea Ornelas Ornelas, and it's the same for LinkedIn as well.
Thank you so much for joining us on MyRISE. Andrea Ornelas is definitely on her rise, and we look forward to seeing more from you in the future.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.